Hi, good evening.
Hey, how's it going?
I said good evening, everyone. That's better. Okay, so my uncle is at the table, and he said, Shaina, you're the youngest one on this list.
All right.
Right?
That's cool.
Are you sure you should be deserving such an honor? And I said, of course, why not? I don't think it's a time or a place where you're too young to have an impact and have a legacy. So my challenge to you guys is to start now. Don't do it later. Start now, and instill in your children to actually start now. So I may be young, but as I walked into Thornton, I looked and I said, oh, it was 2002. That was actually 17 years ago. So I'm not that young, Uncle Chester, okay? I am a little old, and it was, my last speech, I was actually the valedictorian of the class of 2002. So I take it as an honor, and I'm very humbled to actually be speaking again in front of you all. So I didn't have a speech prepared because I'm busy saving lives. Being a doctor, taking care of all of these cancer patients is very humbling, yet rewarding to make a difference. One thing I did realize is, as I was walking in the hallway, there was a young cheerleader. And she grabbed me and she said, Dr. Rozelle, I heard you were a cheerleader. She said, I want to be just like you.
Right.
She said, I want to be like you. I want to make a difference, and I want to be a doctor. And I said, it's never too late. So I gave her my number and gave her my information. And I reflect back about mentorship. Mentorship is extremely powerful. My mentor started very young. It was my grandmother, who's here today, who at the age of 5, she called me Dr. Rozelle. She was planting a seed, and she said, you can be whatever you want to be. And I always knew I wanted to be that doctor. It was my Uncle Eric who gave us money for the A's that we received on our report cards. And I was just thinking about, I just need to make this money. Okay, it wasn't the grades. It was, how can I get more money? Okay, and that transcended just beyond working hard, but it went further than that. It was my Auntie Kathy who was my shero, and I wanted to be just like her. She was the reason I went to Stanford. I didn't know anything about Stanford. Coming from Harvey, when there was not much opportunity, she said, go out and explore. After my mentorship at home is when I really developed mentorship at Morton. I got exposed to a number of opportunities, number of teachers who are actually teachers today that told my age. Mr. Denler, who was my math coach.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Fickus, who told me about history, and it was the first time I went to the Grand Canyon and hiked the Grand Canyon. I will never do that again, but it showed me that there were opportunities. I got to see the wells in Toronto and going to Canada. I'd never been to Canada. I was confined kind of to Chicago and Harvey. It was my cheerleading coach, my volleyball coach, my math coach. I sang in the choir with Mr. Downey for years.
Oh, yeah.
And it really inspired me to say, hey, I have some mentors actually within this institution. It was Ms. Peppers who said, hey, you can apply for finances, and you can go and get scholarships. I got so many scholarships with her. And so I really thank you guys. It's not about me, it's about the mentorships and the people who actually instilled in me. So I want to thank you guys, especially those who are here tonight. Jay, I appreciate you. You've always inspired me to do better. You always believed in me when I wanted to give up. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I'm humble. So before I just conclude, I'd like to say, challenge yourself. My Aunt Kathy, who is my shero, who's battling cancer, she says, Shaina, what's your moonshot? My moonshot is to be like her, to have impact and legacy. This is what this is about. This is a legacy fund. Right. How can we improve? How can we give money to help other students have opportunities that no one else has had? If you don't have mentors, find someone who is not a mentor. Say, this is not what I want to be. I want to be something better. Thank you.
All right, good job.
Hall of Fame, Dr. McVey. I can't remember who was.
Jerry Abraham.
Jerry Abraham.
Abraham.
Good evening. It's been 52 years ago I moved from Harvey and Thornton to California to avoid the ice and snow of Chicagoland.
Wise decision.
Of course, what I got in return was earthquakes and fires.
Wow.
But there is no perfect world. But I am so glad to be back here, and it is my privilege to have nominated Dr. William McVey, who was the principal and superintendent at Thornton for the most important and vital time from 1917 to 1947. And so I'd like to tell you just a little bit about him, and I'll make it very, very brief, because most likely most of you either don't know him or have not even heard of him. But Thornton wouldn't be Thornton without the work that he did. When he took over as principal at Thornton, there was that one small section of the school which has the intricate roof on it. From there on, everything moved out, including the auditorium, the gymnasium at the corner of 150th and Broadway, and he started the junior college in 1927. So much of it was done under his auspices and his support. He created great academics, 4 years of French, 4 years of Spanish, 4 years of Latin, 4 years of German, advanced mathematics, Russian language during World War II, advanced chemistry, social studies, and geography, and so forth. Outstanding trade and business programs. He knew that the support of a truly diverse township, ethnically, income-wise, from Flossmoor to Markham, to Tinley Park, to Harvey, to Dalton, and some 20-some other villages, was dependent on that. He also established a great athletic program that would be essential to creating support and for the high school. He hired Jack Light, think Thornton Flying Clouds, membership in the Suburban League. A lot of people don't realize this, but at one time, Thornton was a member of the Suburban League, playing schools like New Trier, Evanston, New Trier, and so forth. He wanted to be part of that system. He held a PhD from the University of Chicago. He hired great faculty, especially from the University of Chicago, Northwestern, Illinois, even my alma mater, Duke University, as well as the leading liberal arts colleges in the Midwest. He was a friend and advisor to James D. Logsdon, and some of you may remember him as the superintendent at Thornton during the 1960s. Logsdon earlier had been a school principal in Harvey, and Dr. McVey sort of served as an advisor and a proctor for him to continue his education and his interest in Thornton. When I was a student here and later a teacher for 2 years at Thornton, the older faculty who were hired by him and knew him held him in awe. Dr. Logsdon, who was the superintendent here when I taught here in 66, 67, told me how indebted he was to Dr. McVey. Dr. Logsdon was a nationally recognized educator. His textbooks on high school principalship was used in schools throughout the United States. Finally, as George Bernard Shaw said, to paraphrase, we are indebted to the helping hands before us. So I accept this award on behalf of Dr. McVey's descendants, and hopefully we can find them. And we've been looking carefully, but so far we haven't been able to do so. And hopefully we can give that award to them. But thank you, committee, for the award and memorializing this great man.
All right.
Good evening. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so humbled by this award, and I just thank everyone for you being here, for me being here. It's a great recognition. Some of my mentors are here tonight that inspired me when I was hired at Thornton. I want to say thank you to Gwen Bowen. She was here tonight. Pat Wosley, Paul Swanstrom, and James Clark. They don't know how they really, really helped me as a young teacher coming into Thornton, and being around them helped set the pace for me to be able to know how a young teacher does, how you have to make the adjustments. Teaching is a great job, but it's not as easy as some people think it is. There's a lot to teaching, and some of that is you have to have a heart, you know, and being able to care and give. I want to thank my family for being here, my grandson coming home from school for this occasion. My daughter is here, Deborah, her husband Chris, my granddaughters Jasmine, Jade, and my grandson who's a sophomore at University of Toledo. And I have my sisters here, Vanessa, my special friends Evelyn and Samuel. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I want to dedicate this award to two special men that affected my life. Mr. Lamar Thomas. He's a friend to my husband and I, and he invited me and encouraged me to join the TALF committee. I'm so happy I did. They are a great, wonderful group of people, very giving, and I really love being a part of TALF. So I thank Lamar for that. And my late husband, Kenneth Michael Morton, for his encouraging and believing in me always, always. In anything I wanted to do, he encouraged me. And for working on his birthday, our anniversary some years, there at Thornton with me at homecoming. Homecoming would fall on one of those important events. So I thank him for that. And thank you, Kay Ramke. Thank you for being here for me and being a part of a very good part of our friendship. Thank you, Kay. I want to say thank you and everyone have a great evening. And also thanks for being here. And remember, teachers are important. Thank you.